podcasts you love.
From people you trust.
This is TWiT.
Hi, this is Leo Laporte, and this is my Tech Guy podcast. This show originally aired on the Premier Networks on Saturday, January 15th, 2022. This is episode 1859. Enjoy. No ads, just the content. That's what you get when you join Club TWiT. You even get extras like TWiT Plus, our new bonus feed just for members, and exclusive access to the Club TWiT Discord community. Join now for just $7 a month and support TWiT as we continue to create top-notch podcasts you expect and deserve. We're just getting started, so be one of the first to join as we build Club TWiT from the ground up. You could be an early member. Go to twit.tv/clubtwit to learn more and sign up now. Thanks. Well, hey, how are you today? Leo Laporte here, the Tech Guy. Yes, it's that time. The geek time on the radio. 8888 Ask Leo is the phone number if you want to talk high-tech with me. What's high-tech versus low-tech? I don't know. I always say high-tech. It's not even high-tech anymore. It's just tech. I mean, is a light bulb that can sense your heart rate high-tech? I guess it is, really, but it's also kind of low-tech. It's a light bulb, for crying out loud. There is such a thing, by the way. The Consumer Electronics show ended last week, and the Right to Repair folks came up with some worst of CES. You always talk about the best of CES. The worst of CES, among other things, the new Mercedes electric vehicle whose hood no user serviceable parts in here. You can't open. Don't open that. And a light bulb that you can put all over the house, an Internet of Things device that can sense your temperature, your heart rate, your presence. Not sure why you'd want that in a light bulb. I could see why the light bulb makers want that, or the people, they're selling your data to. There are 6 people in the house. 2 of them are in the living room, 1 of them is in the kitchen, 3 of them are in bedrooms. 1 of them is watching TV, and currently a football game. And they did stay for the ad. That's the kind of information they can have, and probably do have, and probably do sell. So I think that might be the worst of CES, that and the Mercedes whose hood you can't open. You could hurt yourself if you open this. It's not the first time. Mercedes did a car a couple of years ago that didn't have a dipstick. Why would you, if you can afford a Mercedes, why would you ever check your oil? Right? That makes sense to me. It seems logical to me. Have you played Wordle yet? Oh, man. Wordle is all the rage. Wordle is a free app on the web from the UK, I guess. It's fun. I've been playing it, off and on for the last couple of weeks. It's been around for 7 months. But you know how things are? They'll languish in obscurity for a while, and then all of a sudden, everybody's doing it. And, the smart thing to do if you've got something like this, just Google WORDLE, you'll find it. The smart thing to do if you got a thing like this is after somebody plays the game and does really well, there's a button that says, share this on Twitter or Facebook or Instagram. Share it? You want to share it, right? And unfortunately, the reason Wordle has been suddenly in the news is because apparently everybody is now sharing their Wordle score on Twitter, showing off. I see how well I know words. It's kind of like the mastermind game for words. You have to guess a word. You have 6 guesses. It's fun. It's a good game, but and it's funny that 7 months in, all of a sudden, thanks to Twitter, everybody knows, and many hate. I have a friend who says, "Just get it off my Twitter feed." That's what you're on Twitter for. That kind of fun stuff. Apple has a little bit of a problem because as soon as it became popular, as soon as it started getting tweeted a lot, many clones of Wordle, some pay clones, Wordle's free on the web. One of them, $30 a year subscription, appeared in the App Store on the iPhone. Thanks to all the negative publicity, Apple got rid of it. But it really underlies a bigger problem. I think Apple promotes, and many of us believe, that the App Store is a highly curated store of excellent apps just for your iPhone. But we also have to remember Apple makes 30% on fees, and they're probably eyeing that $10 a year from the Wordle clone and going, well, it's not so. It works. It's a program. It does the thing it should say. It says it should do. Just because there's a free one doesn't mean we should stop people from paying for it if they want to. Thank you very much for the $10. There's lots of stuff though. Macworld had an opinion piece this week. The author, Jason Cross, pointed out that there are many fake Samsung SmartThing apps on the web's Apple store. If you buy a Samsung device, SmartThings is their home automation platform, and you'll be encouraged to download the SmartThings app. And there is a Samsung SmartThings app, but there's also SmartThings TV remote control, SmartThings for Smart TV, SmartThings for Samsung TV app. There's a bunch of them that aren't from Samsung. Some of them, $30 yearly subscription. The Samsung app's free. The other ones that are free probably are spying on you, right? There's got to be something in there. The weird thing is, Apple not only doesn't take those off, I can see why they maybe leave them on, even though they have rules against that kind of thing. They allow them to charge, and they even allow them to buy ads, because it goes right in the pocket for Apple, right? So if you search for SmartThings in the App Store, you'll suddenly find an advertisement for something that's not Samsung's app that costs money, and Apple's happy to sell them an ad. This kind of bugs me. And it's not a surprise now that Apple is starting to get a little heat. South Korea told both Apple and Google, you have to allow other payment systems in your App Store. You can't require that people go through you and pay the 30%. Apple in the Netherlands now is going to let a developer of a dating app offer alternative payment because they've been ordered to do so by January 15th. That's today. By the way, happy Bagel Day. I guess I only mention this to encourage caution when you purchase stuff, especially subscription stuff on the App Store. Just because it's there doesn't mean Apple's, I guess Apple did give it its seal of approval, but it doesn't, they have to look at hundreds of thousands of apps every month. Still, I think the scammy ones, it came up for me because my 89-year-old mom loves her iPad and her iPhone. And like many of us, was running out of room on her old iPhone, and she wanted to clear up some space. So she went to the App Store. She searched for an app that, said, will clean up your memory on the iPhone, downloaded it, and was paying $5 a week, unbeknownst to her. She didn't, she just said, yeah, and it said, would you like to get rid of the ads or whatever it says? And she said, yeah, and $5 a week, $250 a year for an app that deletes stuff from your iPhone? What? And the only reason I know about it is because I'm a good boy, I'm a good son, and she's using my credit card on her iPhone. So I got the email from Apple saying, you just paid another $5. Wait a minute. Of course, I called Mom. I said, let's go to the subscriptions tab on your iPhone. In fact, everybody, if you've got an iPhone, that's the one good thing about the App Store is it's very easy to cancel a subscription and figure out what subscriptions you have. Go to your settings, tap your name, and then the entry in there under Apple ID there should be a subscriptions entry that shows all the things you pay for. Check that, as I had my mom do, to make sure she wasn't paying for any other useless apps. It feels like Apple should probably not allow this. That's what it feels like to me. But, well, there you are. There you are. I'm just looking through my subscriptions, and I can't. If I don't use it, I cancel it. And that's, I tell you, if there's a saving grace, if there's a one thing I praise Apple for, is that if you are a developer, you create an app, and you have people pay for the app, the subscription has to show up in that subscription tab. All right, it's buried 3 clicks into settings, but it's there. And, In there, you can see everything you've subscribed to and easily cancel the things you're not. And that's going to be different. If all of a sudden in South Korea, now in the Netherlands, and I think it'll probably spread, Apple actually won a court case. The judge had said by December you have to do that, open up your app store to other payment systems. And Apple appealed and won the appeal. So it won't happen in the U.S. anytime soon. But those countries, that dating app in the Netherlands, I bet you it's going to be hard to cancel. It won't be as easy as going to a setting in your phone and saying, I don't want this anymore. And that is, I have to give Apple credit for that. They do make it easy to cancel. So many places don't, right? They really discourage you. It's Hotel California. You can check in, but you can't check out. 8888 Ask Leo, the phone number, the website where we put all the links. We're still working out the kinks for all the links, but that's techguylabs.com. Also put transcripts up there and audio and video from the show after the fact. techguylabs.com. That's free. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Your call's next.
I've not heard Milli Vanilli since the 90s.
I'll be stronger than thunder. The lip-syncing Milli Vanilli, ladies and gentlemen.
Oh, rest in peace, Milli or Vanilli. I'm not
One
sure.
of them, Milli or Vanilli, we don't know. Isn't that sad that that's like how they'll be remembered? Were you Milli or Vanilli? This is, we are talking to Kim Schaffer. She's our phone angel. I hope that on your tombstone it doesn't say former phone angel. Now,
I don't think I'm
now
gonna
real
have a
angel.
tombstone.
No, me
I think
neither.
I'm going to get scattered into
You
the
want
ocean
an urn?
somewhere.
You want an urn?
I don't even want that.
You got to have
That's
that
weird.
conversation. I had that conversation with my mom. What do you want, Mom? She said
No,
a cardboard box.
No, I want to be. I take me to Hawaii. Take me to a tropical ocean somewhere and just.
Oh man, you see that all the time. People wading out into the waves with their little baggie of ashes.
I did that with my aunt in Hawaii.
And then throw it in the air and it goes right in their face. Yeah.
Oh no, that part's not cool.
Not cool. Not cool, man.
Don't need any ashes in my Mai Tai.
If this show had titles, that would be a good show title. So who should I talk to on the phone, on the telephone?
I don't even know. Richard and La Puente.
You're really going, this one really captured your imagination. No ashes in my Mai Tai, man.
It's a good title. Use it for TWiT tomorrow.
Yeah, I will. Thank you, Kim. Hello, Richard in La Puente. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Oh, I got to turn this button.
Nice to talk to you.
Nice to talk to you. Thanks for calling.
First of all, thank you very much for all that you do in trying to keep the old user group, computer user group, alive.
I have very fond, of course, I'm an old timer too, very fond memories of computer user groups in the earliest days of technology. That's, the only way you could figure out how to use things and do things. Apple was introduced at the Homebrew Computer Club, in San Jose, and I used to go to the Berkeley Macintosh Users Group, BMUG, and
BMUG, wonderful.
It was fun. You'd have these monthly meetings, be 100 people there. They'd talk about stuff. You'd have speakers. You'd have a Q&A session. It's kind of, I think of this as a user group on the radio.
And that's why I'm thanking you for that.
Well, you're welcome.
That's where I would go to get the answers to problems.
Yeah. Yeah, you'd stand up. It'd say, it's question time. You'd stand up and say, my IRQ, I got a problem with my IRQs. My printer won't talk when my modem's on. And then people would help you with that. Yeah.
Yeah, that was great time.
Those were the days.
So I have two questions, but the most important one is the one for my friend that is a dear friend, and she's had a business that she's been trying to build up over the last 10 years, and it's a decorating business. She uses Instagram to show her items that she does, and she's been struggling for 10 years, and then in the last 2 months, she had a video, a reel that she had go viral. She had about 500,000 views.
Holy cow, that's fantastic.
Yeah, it was great. She finally gained up to 13,000 followers.
Wonderful.
So it was. And in doing this, she's been getting more attention.
Yeah. That's the downside of the internet.
Attention of the hackers, yeah.
Yeah.
So she has normally, over the last 10 years with Instagram, been getting people to come and ask about her business and request information, and they would send her links to their own Instagram photos of how they might want their wedding or their birthday party to be done.
Oh, nice.
So January 11th at 7:18 in the morning, she had a link from somebody that she had a conversation with the month before, and she clicked on it and instantly lost access to her account. They then went on and changed the password and changed the email address.
Oh, my God, how frustrating. She got played.
She got played, and that was terribly devastating for her.
Yeah.
She spent 10 years climbing this mountain to get to where she finally started getting some users. And
well, I don't want to be a finger-wagging nanny, so I won't. But this is a cautionary tale for anybody who's building a business on a social platform. Take every effort, to protect it, including if she had used two-factor authentication, for instance, she probably wouldn't have lost it.
She didn't even know about it.
She didn't even know it existed, yeah.
Didn't know it existed.
It's like opening a store downtown and forgetting to lock the door, We all understand door locks, but we don't understand security in the internet yet, and I'm so sorry that happened. She should be able to call Instagram, or call, there's nobody at the phone, but she should be able to contact Instagram and recover it. My concern is, how did she...
Who do you contact?
Well, if you look in Instagram, you might have to help her. I don't know if she's completely lost access to Instagram, but if you could Google Instagram recover account, and it would give you the stuff you need to know. It happens. It happens on Facebook. It happens on Instagram. It happens quite a bit. Please turn on two-factor. My other concern, the Instagram Help Center is at help.instagram.com. And there's even one. I think my Instagram account has been hacked. So she can go through that process. One of the things that's important is that she associates her phone number with it. So that they can send her an authentication code. I'm sure the bad guys, once they got access to the account, changed all that. But Instagram has her previous phone number, so and so they can then send her a link to verify that she owned it, and they go, yeah, it was stolen. Here it is. Make sure you get her to turn on two-factor. I'm a little concerned.
She's on everything else right now.
Yeah, she's you learn, don't you? You learn.
Yeah.
You learn.
Yeah. Hard lesson.
Instagram, my wife says her Instagram was hacked too. Somebody turned on two-factor without her knowledge. I think Instagram security maybe lacks. I have a big question mark over my head, if you can imagine that, over how just clicking a link gave them access to her Instagram. Was it on a phone?
Yes.
On an iPhone or Android?
It was on an iPhone 13.
So I'm really confused about how you shouldn't be able to do that on an iPhone. Her story may not have holes, but there may be more to it than meets the eye. Simply clicking a link. Well, you shouldn't do that. You got to be careful. But that should not, with just that action, relinquish your Instagram account. There's more to that story somewhere. So you might ask her about that. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Yeah, that's a little. I mean, it shouldn't be possible to click a link and lose your.
It's bizarre to me as well.
Yeah,
I was there when she actually clicked on it, and it just.
Oh, you saw it happen.
Yeah, it shut her out of her Instagram account, and then she started getting email notifications that the password changed, that the email address changed, and that the phone number changed. And the phone number changed to one that looks like it comes from Nigeria.
Yeah. Well, yeah, that's probably where it may or may not be where the scammer is. I mean,
yeah.
They can get a phone number anywhere.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm looking. Instagram spam. Do not click the link. It will hack your account. Gosh, that's terrible security. If that's the case, there's a YouTube video on how this happens. And she didn't. When she clicked the link, it didn't take her to an Instagram page and then say, log in. It just took it over.
No.
Wow.
Correct.
Honestly, that's a terrible flaw in Instagram. That should not be possible. I'm watching this YouTube video that says, Instagram, do not click the link. It will hack your account. It also has in that video how to fix it. So I'll put a link in the show notes. But if you Google Instagram spam, do not click the link on YouTube, you'll be able to find that video. And I don't,
Great.
I'm
That
just,
would be very helpful.
I just found it. I don't know if it actually is useful, but I'm just curious to understand how it happened, to be honest. So I was just looking for Instagram one-click hacks, and that's where I found that. So, boy, that just really seems, to me, that seems like,
It's
boy,
very scary.
the flaws for sure in Instagram. If that's possible, it's terrible. And maybe it is. So what's the answer to this? Well, you be very careful about the links you click.
Yes.
Anywhere.
But I've educated her on that.
Yeah.
Even though she's had conversation with this person, it was clear that what they've done is they...
Scammers are very patient. They, these guys will take their time. And, of course, they're not going to scam you until you have something of value. And so she built something of value. So now they've as soon as you get over 10,000 views, I'm sure that you start getting these. I'm so sorry. There is in the Instagram Help Center, there is a whole page. We just put a link in our show notes. I think my Instagram account has been hacked. What to do. And there's a lot of stuff you can do. It may be that there is a third-party app that she gave access to. She should, once she gets it back, she should turn off all third-party apps in her Instagram. Same for Twitter and Facebook. The bad guys are out there. In fact, this has become, the #1 pastime in the world is gaming the system. And I'm sad to say that's a problem.
Yeah.
I'm sorry it's happened to you, Richard, but welcome to the user group.
Yes.
I appreciate it.
That's why I really appreciate all you do for us people out here that are still looking for user group kinds of support.
Yeah, we just kind of have to do it for ourselves still, Good luck getting help from Google or Instagram or Facebook because they're just so big. We just have to do it for ourselves.
In that regard, what's the IRC chat room that I can...
You can do it in the web browser. And they're very helpful too. irc.twit.tv.
Okay. That way I don't have to wait until the weekend to be able to...
They're great, yeah. That's the Team Tech guy. Pleasure talking to you, Richard.
Thank you.
Take care. What is hip? This cat right here, Mr. Scott Wilkinson, our home theater geek, contributor at techhive.com, soon to be Santa Cruz resident, big screen TV aficionado, surround sound guru, and Santa Claus during the off season. Hello. Hello, Scott.
Hey, Leo. How you doing?
Good to see you. I am well. Your excitement has held steady for the QD OLED announced by Sony. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely. But I wanted to mention that there were other TV announcements at CES too. Besides
let's get those in. Yeah, we focused on that, but let's get those in too.
Yeah, there are plenty of other ones. LG has its next generation of regular OLED, which they've improved. They claim 30% more brightness than last year, which was brighter than the year before. So they are greatly improving that.
I'll tell you, I've been watching a lot of 4K content on my, I guess now 5-year-old LG OLED, and it just looks so good. There's a documentary called 14 Peaks on Netflix about the guy who scaled all 14 8,000-meter or higher peaks in 7 months. 7 months. He's a Sherpa, of course. And a lot of HD video from high atop, Everest and K2 and Annapurna. And it's
4K video.
Yeah. I don't know what he was shooting with. Yeah, because the snow is so bright and the lines are so crisp. You just feel like you're there. It's really amazing.
This is a great test, by the way, for setting your contrast control, which controls the white level. And if it's set too high, all that snow is going to be just a flat white.
Right.
And so you want to set it so that you see some variation in the snow.
You want to see the footprints in the snow. Yes.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly.
Oh, it's gorgeous.
Wow. Well, LG announced, believe it or not, a 97-inch OLED.
Wait a minute. Let me do that math. That's big.
Yeah.
That's huge.
Really big.
How much is that, though?
Well, they didn't say.
Yeah. Well, let's put it this way. Their roll-up OLED's $100,000, so.
Right. It's
going to be in
so
that.
This 97 inch is going to be expensive. There's no question about it. But it's the largest OLED certainly ever made for consumers anyway.
Wow.
Meanwhile, Samsung announced a consumer-friendly version of their micro LED, which is 89 inches. They also didn't announce prices. It's also a fixed size. You know, micro LED comes in these tiles, and you can they're modules, and you can make basically any size or shape TV you want. But this is kind of a prepackaged deal. It's still going to be very expensive. They didn't announce pricing on that either. But I think it was 109 inch that they announced last year was $150,000.
Oh, never mind. Yeah.
So this one ain't going to be cheap.
Yeah. We have that Hisense short throw projector, which is about a 100-inch
100-inch screen.
But it's a projector. I mean, it's nice. It was expensive at the time. I think it's come down to $4,000 or $5,000.
Exactly.
But it's nice to have for like the football games, this weekend. It's nice when people come over to watch it on a big screen. It's not as good looking as the OLED, but everybody can see it.
Not nearly as bright either.
Yeah.
If you can afford a 97-inch OLED or
go for it. Yeah.
And an 89-inch micro LED.
Go for it, Shaq. You deserve it.
Now, at the other end of the scale, LG announced in its C2 line, that 97-inch OLED is in their G2 line, which is the higher end line. At the lower end, the C2 line, they introduced a 42-inch, the smallest OLED you could get.
Yeah.
That's like almost a computer monitor.
But that might be very affordable, yeah?
I don't know what it's going to be. They don't say.
I have an OLED computer monitor, and I have to say I love it, but it's primarily for gaming and watching movies and stuff.
That's what they say. They say this one kind of bridges the gap between a TV and a gaming monitor.
Yeah.
And they've got gaming presets with G-Sync, variable frame rate, and they support NVIDIA G-Sync and FreeSync as well. So, it is kind of aimed at gamers.
Yeah, FreeSync is a gaming technology.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Now, TCL introduced a 98-inch quantum dot LCD TV for $8,000.
See, now you're getting down there. I mean, it sounds like a lot, but that's a giant
It's
TV.
a lot of money, but compared to $100,000, it's nothing.
And that's a big screen. I mean, that's a nice big screen. I mean,
oh yeah, it's the same size as your Hisense projector.
Yeah.
And probably for less than what you paid for your Hisense projector back in the day.
So do you think people, I mean, there was a problem with a giant screen, of course, is you have to have the place for it. You can't.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
But do you think there must be a market?
Must be.
It's part of the market is people don't want to go to the cinema.
Right.
So they make a home theater.
That's right. That's exactly right. Now a TV like that in a home theater with you don't necessarily need a dark environment. In fact, you'd have to really turn down the brightness if you were in a dark environment. On the other hand, if you want to be immersive, as in a movie theater, which is dark, and really you're only focused on the screen, then you do want to turn down that brightness, and you probably still want a bias light behind it.
Yeah.
Right. A bias light is a light behind the screen that kind of lights up the area around the screen so that your eyes don't get as tired. And that's going to be really important with TVs like this, with any TV, really. Hisense announced a couple of mini LED TVs that are probably going to be really affordable. None of these companies at CES announce prices or specific availability. You know it's going to be in the spring or
which
summer.
is frustrating.
It is,
because it gets you excited, and then you go, oh, I can't afford. I'm never going to be able to afford that.
I'm never going to be able to
even
afford
if I could
that.
afford that, I wouldn't spend that much on a TV. That kind of thing.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
But
exactly.
the good news is, in every case, these things come down over time, quite a bit.
Exactly, quite a bit.
So patience is rewarded, for sure.
Exactly right.
Yeah.
Exactly right.
Yeah.
Sony introduced their first mini LED backlight TV.
Mini LED backlight. So, who was it? Was it LG? Somebody said mini LED is going to be bad for your eyes, which is concerning because a lot of computers, Apple's stuff now is all mini LED.
I don't see how that could be.
They say the brightness, it's brighter, and then there's a lot of blue in it. And we know that blue light is not good for you. Yeah, I wear blue blocker glasses when I use the computer.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
Can you get that in a prescription glasses?
Yes, they are prescription. In fact,
might have to do that on mine then.
Ask your optometrist about taking your existing prescription. What I did is I had my existing prescription, and I added a little to the diopter so it was more like closer to a reading glasses, so it was a little magnification, and then they put the blue block in. And it's great for a computer. It's a little,
Wow,
yeah.
I'm going to have to do that because I sit at my computer a lot. Obviously, you do too.
Yes. And there are companies that make, computer glasses specifically, and you can, in fact, have a prescription as well as just like sunglasses, right?
All right.
But Gunnar is the one that's well known. I had a pair of Gunnars for a while, Gunnar.
Okay.
But ask your optometrist. I think that's probably the best place to get that done.
I will.
Yeah.
Just real quick, TCL also introduced an 8K TV that's only like 10 millimeters thick. So they're getting down to OLED.
It's like a razor
thickness.
blade. It's incredible.
I know.
It's incredible. Yeah. We just need that content. Sometime in the next couple of weeks, we should talk about the Olympics. They're coming up.
Oh, we should. Okay.
How to watch them in 4K and all that.
Yep.
Scott Wilkinson, techhive.com, our home theater geek. Okay, Scotty, I'm going to get you all set here for your exciting appearance on radio.
Thank you so very much.
You're very welcome. Here you go. I'm going to get a cup of
Mike
coffee.
V says 98 inches is roughly 8 feet. That makes sense.
Yeah.
It's huge.
Yeah. My Hisense, we have to, we have a great room, so it's perfect for a great room. You need a big room.
You need a big TV in that room.
Yeah. Be
Very
good for the it's good for the Super Bowl. That's my idea. At least
exactly.
We'll be watching football all weekend. Got a big game coming up tomorrow.
Oh, what's the big game?
Cowboys Niners, man.
Oh, okay.
49ers. That's all right.
Go Niners, I guess.
You don't need to. It's okay.
I don't watch.
I understand your position on sport ball. I won't.
Yeah. The only sport I actually pay any attention to at all is baseball.
I used to. It got, it started with the strike many years ago, and then, I don't know, I just kind of lost interest when players moved around so much. So now and Lisa's a big NFL fan, so, she had Niners season tickets and all that, so I follow the NFL now.
Okay. In fact, Dr. Mom Grandma is asking, with Super Bowl next month, what's the best time to shop for a TV?
Yes. We got to get ready for Super Bowl and the Olympics. They start at the same time.
Yeah. I will do some research into that. I mean, generally speaking, this is a great time to shop for 2021 model TVs.
Yeah.
Because the 2022s are not out yet. And do you really need to wait for a 2022? Probably not. Unless you're one of those people who really has to have the very latest and greatest, most recent thing, which I always get a little chuckle out of that because, sure, you get the latest, greatest thing, and then 6 months later, it's not anymore. And something else, next CES a year later or 6 months later, because when the TVs come out, it's going to be spring or summer. And when you get it, then 6 months later, CES comes around, and the next big new thing comes out. So unless you want this new QD OLED, which that's going to be something special. And I would wait for that if you can, and if you can afford it. But if you can't, then getting a 2021 model TV is perfectly fine. Perfectly fine. Phoenix Warp 1, hockey is the only sport. Nah, well, I'm not into hockey anyway. Mike Heiss, like getting a grand piano into a New York apartment. How do you get these things into the home? A bend in the middle, but only once. Anyway, yeah. I don't know how you get it into the TV, into the home. Actually,
You take the roof off, of course.
well, I heard when these giant TVs first came out, like the Panasonic 108-inch plasma. You remember that? That was years ago, but people were talking about, well, you can only really put it in a house that you're building,
right.
and you have to put it in there before the roof goes on.
Right.
You have to crane.
Although
it
here in California, a lot of us have big sliding glass doors and stuff. There might be ways.
That's true.
You just have to look at the
See, this is the advantage of micro LED because it's modular.
disassemble.
The panels are only like a foot across.
Stick around for the top.
Sure, happy to.
Thank you. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. 8888 Ask Leo. That's the phone number. Back to the phones we go. Christine from Laguna Hills, California is next. Hi, Christine.
Hi, Leo. How are you?
I'm well. How are you?
I'm doing great. It means I'm a long-time listener.
Thank you.
First-time caller.
Wonderful.
So
Welcome.
First-time nerves. I just wanted to, I'm a long enough listener that I remember you mentioning something I never heard of before called Ubuntu, and that sent me down the Linux path for, years now.
Awesome.
I've had a lot of fun.
Awesome.
I've learned a lot. So
Very good. Ubuntu Linux,
that was great. Thank you.
Well, you're welcome. Do you use it exclusively now, or do you still use Windows or Mac?
No, I've always dual booted.
Dual boot. Yep.
Yeah, I use two different drives. That way, if I'm
Easy.
messing
Yeah.
around and destroy one operating system, at least I didn't destroy both operating systems.
Very smart. Very smart. Yeah. Yeah. I still, obviously for the show and everything else, have to use all three operating systems. But Linux, which is a free and open source operating system, has over the especially last couple of years, become very easy to use. And I think for a lot of people, might be a good third choice over Windows or Mac, especially as they get more commercialized.
I think so. Yeah. I'm moving more online, anyways. I've got an Office 365 subscription, and
everything's online these days. Yeah.
I find more and more stuff is not on the device. But I do have a question about my laptop.
Okay.
I've got an Asus VivoBook, which is it's going to be 4 years old in the next few months.
Yeah.
And according to the Windows little command I can run, my battery is at about 75% of it.
Yeah, that's what happens. In fact, it's a cliff. In the next couple of years, it'll go down very rapidly.
Oh, okay, good. So that leads me to my question.
They wear out, in other words.
Buy a replacement battery online.
Get it. If you like it.
Okay. I do. I like the computer. It's running. It runs Windows 11, no problem.
Yeah.
It has, the TPM and all that stuff as an 8th gen processor.
They're very nice devices, nice and thin and light. And 8th generation. We're now up to 12, but it's not much better, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
So so what happens? Lithium-ion technology wears out over time. There's a certain number of full charge cycles it can do, typically around 500. And at that point, it just will stop taking a charge. So if you're at 75 now, it's going to go down it goes down gradually at first, and then it suddenly just falls off a cliff and goes down to almost nothing. And you're at that age that, not you personally, your VivoBook is at that age. You might be at that age. I know I am, where everything's just starting to fall apart. But
I'm falling apart as well.
Your VivoBook, it happens a little quicker. So if you really like the laptop, usually a new battery, if it's easy to replace, is going to cost under $100, and that'll give you another, 500 cycles, 5 years maybe.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
Yeah, this laptop is great. It's held together with Phillips screws, and you can pry the bottom open with just normal finger press.
That's one reason to value it, is it's repairable. In the last few years, to get laptops thinner and lighter, they've started gluing stuff together. And most of the modern laptops, you can't replace the battery yourself. It's very difficult. So in a way, this is worth keeping this thing around.
Okay, so the last thing so if I get the battery, does it have a shelf life? If I decide to put it in
no
6 months from now?
No, keep it at a half charge, which it probably will come at a half charge. Most companies, that's how they ship it. And you can let it sit for a long time. If you want it to last a little longer, wrap it in a waterproof bag and keep it in the freezer.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that'll slow the chemistry down. It's a chemistry. It's a chemical reaction. So
yeah, it's a chemical reaction.
Yeah.
Okay, great. Thank you.
You're welcome. Good to talk to you. Now that you know the way, make your way back here soon, okay? Let's see. Joe on the line from Knoxville, Tennessee. Hi, Joe.
How you doing today?
I am well. How are you?
Pretty good. I saw or been listening on the air for a while. I saw you hit 65 recently.
Shh.
My wife and I hit it this year, and after the last 2 years that we've been going through, we just said, we're not going to punch anybody else's time clocks anymore. So
Good man. You're retiring.
our time now.
Yeah. That's a nice feeling. When you hit 65, you kind of, I'll speak for myself, but I think it's probably true for you too. You kind of realize why that's the normal retirement age. It's a good time.
We had, health issues with elderly parents, and then my wife got hit with breast cancer.
Oh, dear.
And she's recovered from that.
Good.
The last appointment said she's NED, no evidence of disease.
Love it. She rang the bell, huh? That's awesome.
Yeah, we're doing great.
That's awesome.
She's into quilting big time.
That makes you appreciate life, doesn't it? You go, what? I'm going to take advantage of the years left. Really enjoy them.
She's into quilting big time, and she's doing probably a couple of quilts a month, and her quilting group has given over 100 quilts to Children's Hospital
Isn't
locally.
That great? Isn't that great?
And you were talking about older computers earlier. My first computer was an Ohio Scientific Superboard 2.
OSI, I remember those. Yeah.
4K of memory. It did not have RS-232 on it, but it had the provisions for it, and I added all the components and got a 300-baud acoustic coupled modem and put on it and started using CompuServe.
People now are listening. The young kids are going, what are they? Those old timers? What are they talking about? We used to walk 3 miles in the snow.
I run into an issue on my computer, and I use the Windows Defender and software for virus scan. And stuff.
That comes with Windows, and it's all you need for most people. It does a good job.
I'm losing favor with that because I've got something that starts showing up. All of a sudden, I use a wireless mouse and keyboard, and I don't think it's that because I've changed the batteries, make sure everything's fresh and that. But all of a sudden, I'll be doing something, and then everything slows down. I'll move the mouse, and it won't move. Or I'll type something, and it won't type. And then it'll start working, and I've did the Windows Defender and scanned, and there's two things that's popped up, and I do the full scan, and I get a PUA :Win32 / Creepote was one of them, and the other one was Lagua.a. And
what is it? Does it label those as anything?
It didn't say that there was anything major, but I've looked it up on Google. They say that there's things that slow down the operation of the computer. And
there you go. So don't knock Defender. It found it. But how do you remove it?
That's the question, because one of the things I found on one of them says you can't remove it.
Yeah.
So, I had in the past, because they used to be an advertiser with you, was the Nod 32.
Yeah, from ESET. That's a good tool. Yeah.
And I'm wondering if...
So, PUAs is not necessarily a virus. It's a potentially unwanted application. So according to Microsoft, it's not considered malware, but it might adversely affect performance. It is. So the reason they don't remove it, well, there are a couple of reasons that they might remove it or might not want to remove it, is you may have installed it. So, in fact, you probably did, as part of something else. So one way to figure out what's going on is kind of look through your installed programs and remove anything that you don't particularly want. A lot of times when you go out to a shareware site and you download software, CBS Interactive is notorious for this, download.com, they'll give you a whole pop-up, you need our downloader, and then it'll pop up one after the other, things it's going to install. Many of those are PUAs. So what you want to do is get rid of those if you can by uninstalling. Leo Laporte, the tech guy.
I know a lot of these programs that you download will want to add in,
they're nasty. They're nasty. And Vagoo is one of them.
Out about that.
Yeah.
They want to change your search engine or
exactly. That's why they're not called a virus. Vagoo is an ad thing.
Yeah.
So you're probably getting ads.
Running into an issue with it is I've got a laser engraver and I use a program called Lightburn. And I'll go to try to reposition something, and then the mouse don't want to respond, and I have to sort of shake the mouse and move it around, or type, cursors on the keypad, and then it'll on the keyboard, and then it'll start responding again.
The problem is it can be other things. It may well be the malware, but it could be other things, including an aging hard drive that can cause this. So it's very hard to. How old's the computer?
It's a few years old, but I've replaced the drives recently. I've got some solid state drives in it and stuff, and it's just something that started in the last probably in the last 3 or 4 weeks.
Yeah, it sounds like these two PUAs could be what's going on. I don't normally recommend this, but it might be worth a try. The thing is, it doesn't sound like there's malware on the machine. It's just these ad plugins. There's a program called Malware Bytes.
Okay.
MALWAREBYTES. And make sure you get it from Malware Bytes directly as opposed to any third party.
There's a lot of people that do the add-on.
Yeah, they pretend they're Malware Bytes. So it's malwarebytes.com. And it is good at removing these kinds of plugins. Microsoft is leery to do that because you installed it and it isn't malware, and they don't. I think maybe they're worried about liability. Although I think Vagoo is one that the Defender will uninstall, so I'm not sure why it's not. It also, the other reason sometimes an antivirus won't remove something is if it's too tightly integrated into the system, it would break the system.
Yeah.
So it may see that, oh gosh, we can't take this out because try Malware Bytes, see what it'll do. You definitely want to get rid of those. I would scan through your installed programs list and make sure nothing's in there that you didn't put there or want there. Vagoo will have an entry there. That's what makes it not malware.
Yeah, I've gone through and looked at installed stuff, and I don't see either one of those listed.
Okay.
In the installed app, so
Okay.
I may try the Malware Bytes. I've used that before. I just usually put it on there and run it and let it go through and pick things, and then I remove it after that.
Yeah.
And so I may go back through and do that. Yeah, I bought a laser engraver a few months ago, and I've had a lot of fun playing with that.
That's really fun. Yeah. Is it? Yeah, we had somebody come over with a portable one and did all sorts of things many years ago. It's so much fun. What do you do with it?
Well, since I've done some plaques, I've got
Nice.
Friends with pets. I've had several friends that have lost pets.
Aw.
I've done some plaques with some, where I can put a picture of their pet in, and
Nice.
some sort of verse next to it and stuff.
Oh,
And I've
isn't that
started doing
sweet?
some coasters and
How fun.
and some name tags for things.
You and your wife are very crafty.
Oh yeah, we do. We do some canning and stuff, and so if we can certain things, I'll make wooden tags to put on the cans. And I'm a beekeeper too, so I've engraved some tags to put on my jars of honey and things like that. So, Yeah, it's been a lot of fun to play with.
See, if I had all those things to do, I wouldn't mind retirement. But all I got is this. It's pathetic, so I have to keep working.
I had to close my office door here a minute ago because if you'd heard me start screaming, Leo, get the heck out of here. We've got a cat named Leo.
Oh!
He's a 10-month-old kitten, weighs 15 pounds.
Oh, my.
I nicknamed him the terrorist because
oh my!
he's into everything.
My daughter's roommate had a cat named Leo, but it means lion, so I don't take it personally.
Oh, yeah, well, we
little lion
too because my son and I are into astronomy, and
nice.
I used to do astronomy outreach through the university years ago, and going to schools and taking telescopes and doing programs in national parks and stuff like that. And so, all the constellations and stuff. Yeah, Leo,
Joe, I wish you were my neighbor. You sound like a really cool guy to get to know.
Oh, I've got about 4 telescopes right now. I've got
how cool.
8 inches up to 10 inch, and some others that I've built, and digital cameras that I've adapted and stuff.
You're going to stay very busy. I have a feeling.
I also am a radio operator.
Oh, of course you are. Of course you are. Hey, I have to run. It's Scott's time now. I want to give him his time back, but it's a pleasure meeting you. Call back again soon, okay?
I will.
Let me know what happens with Vagua. The dreaded Vagua. All yours, Scotty. I gotta get a cup of coffee.
That guy does sound like a really nice.
Wouldn't you like to
really
live next door?
Guy.
Come on over. Let's laser engrave some things.
Right, and then look at the stars.
Look at the stars. Gosh, I wish I had a neighbor like that.
Yeah.
We had neighbors who had a party all night last night. It was hysterical. Oh. That was okay. They had a bouncy
Were you
house.
Invited?
No, they're kind of the back 40, so they're not really direct neighbors. But boy, we heard their party. It was cute. It didn't bother me. They were partying all night. All yours. It's 4:20. Go for it.
Thank you. Hello, everyone. Nice to see you all, or not see you, but see you in the chat anyway. Those of you who are in the chat, I guess there are some people watching that aren't in the chat. You should get in the chat. It's really interesting, really fun, great people. Chicago Tim says, I need a new projector TV. I see some outdoor projectors for much less than home theater projectors. Can they be used indoors? Yes, they can. They're generally not as good quality. I can't say that absolutely, but generally speaking, they're generally 1080p or less. They generally have a little speaker built in, which, takes up room and resources from making it that you don't really need, assuming if you're indoors, you have a sound system indoors, and you really don't want to listen to that funky little speaker inside a projector. It's probably 5 watts. It's probably a tiny little speaker. You're not going to get any bass at all. So I really, if you're going to use a projector indoors, I'd get one designed to be used indoors. Now, you say projector TV. Does that mean an ultra short throw? Do you want it to be a TV replacement? Because that's what ultra short throw projector is. It's basically a TV replacement. It's a projector that you sit up next to the wall. Hopefully you put a screen on the wall rather than just showing it on the wall, because I never recommend that. Because the surface of a wall is not really good for reflecting a high-quality image. But UST, ultra short throw projector, is a TV replacement, so that would be a good option if really what you want is a TV. But if you want a true cinema experience with a long throw projector across the room beaming onto a screen, there are many options for that. Relatively lower cost Epsons I always recommend. In the mid and higher range, JVC I always recommend. They're really the best consumer grade projectors in my opinion. Of course, you can spend that'll cost you up to $10,000. Epsons are more in the $3,000 range, roughly. If you want to get way above $10,000, you can. There are some Sonys that are up there in the $100,000 range. You've got NEC, Christie, the professional digital cinema projectors.
Runco.
No, there's no more Runco. Sadly, Runco and Vidicron are gone.
Runco's gone?
Yeah.
No kidding.
Yeah.
God.
Sam Runco retired.
Oh, it was just like one guy.
Well, he had a whole company, but when he retired, I don't know if he sold the company. I think he might have sold it to Planar.
Maybe that's, so they got absorbed.
They got absorbed.
Yeah.
There is
because those were like $30,000.
Oh,
right?
yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. And they were great.
Yeah.
They were great projectors.
Scotty, have a wonderful week.
Thank you.
And
you?
When are you moving?
Mid-February.
Oh, soon.
Very soon. We are madly packing up the house.
Once Omicron burns through and the pandemic is over, we will get together. I'd love to. We're going to go down to. We're actually going down to Carmel in February. Just for a little short vacation, Lisa and I.
Well, I'll be close enough. I'll be able to drive up. And
I grew up in Santa Cruz. I grew up my first commercial radio job was in Monterey and Pacific Grove, so I know the area very well. Yeah.
Wow.
All right, sir.
It's going to be beautiful. Thanks. See you next week.
Well, hey, how are you today? Leo Laporte here, the tech guy. Time to talk computers, the internet, home theater, digital photography, smartphones, smart watches. Johnny Jett, our travel guru, coming up to help you travel better with technology. Let's see, what else? The GizWiz, our gizmo wizard, Dick DeBartolo, with a crazy gadget or gizmo or something. Probably something he found at CES. And, of course, mostly your calls. Phone number 8888 Ask Leo. Website techguylabs.com. I know some of you are gruntled, and I apologize. I've gotten a couple of disgruntled emails from people saying, what happened to our old website? We had to shut it down. It was just it was going to get prohibitively expensive to keep going because it had old software on it, and the new version would have required a complete rewrite, which would be very expensive. So we merged it into the other site that I run, my podcast network, This Week in Tech, at twit.tv. So you can still go to techguylabs.com, but it'll take you to the This Week in Tech webpage. And we're still working on ways of getting the information from the show in there. Micah Sargent, my producer, will put links up on the webpage there. Our editors will put the links up that we mention on the webpage there. There's also, and we're trying this out, we're now using a artificial intelligence transcription service, which is transcribing the show. And so it's not perfect, but they've come a long way. It's pretty darn good. It's got time codes in there and everything, and then we'll put the audio and the video show from the show there. So it'll give you a way to search for content in that transcription, jump to that in the audio and the video, or maybe find the answer you want in the transcript. So I'm hoping all of that will give you some real value at techguylabs.com. And still, no charge. That's one of the reasons I don't want to spend $250,000 fixing it. 8888 Ask Leo. Matt on the line, Tucson, Arizona. Hello, Matt.
Hey, Leo. How you doing today?
I'm well. Thanks for hanging on. What can I do for you?
I have got a 2014 MacBook, and I'm looking to upgrade to a desktop. Typically, we're owning computers 8 to 10 years before we swap them out.
Nice. Yeah. These days, that's sensible. There's not big...
Well, yeah.
They don't have the big jumps in performance that they had in the early days of computers.
Yeah, well, it's getting to the end of its life cycle, and I want to
8
do
years.
some other things on it.
Especially for Macs, because they've entered a new era with Apple, with these new M1 chips. And so you really do want to kind of start looking at upgrading all of your Intel-based Macs to the new Apple Silicon.
So what I was looking at was a desktop iMac. Initially the 27-inch caught my eye because.
Here's the deal. Can you wait? Can you wait just a few months? Because all of the new desktops are going to be announced sometime between March and June. I think it's going to be closer to March. But at least by June, you never know with Apple. Unfortunately, the chip shortage is probably a factor in this as well. But Apple will announce new iMacs. The current 27-inch iMacs are Intel-based. They're the old model, and I don't think it's wise at this point. If you want to keep it for 8 years, I don't think it's wise to get an Intel-based Mac at this point. They do have M1-based, the new Apple Silicon-based Mac Minis, and they have the little the 24 now, 24-inch iMacs. Those are quite beautiful. But I think that if you want a little bit more power, waiting a couple months would be very beneficial. Apple has blown me away with the capabilities of this new chip platform. It's really good, and I think you'd benefit. It certainly lasts you a lot longer.
Well, that was actually what I was hoping for to hear, because I heard a rumor that they were going to come out with a new platform, and I was wondering whether I should wait or not. So it sounds like I should.
I would, if you can wait a few months. It sounds like you might be able to. I think you'll be glad you did. Expect new Mac Minis, with very high pro features. In other words, the M1 Macs they announced last year. They did a Mac Mini and an iMac, as well as some MacBooks, are good, but they are about to leap again into the next generation, and it's just a couple of months off. There'll be bigger screens on the iMacs. The Mac Mini will be more powerful. The first Mac Mini they released with the M1 chip was kind of a low-end model. I think the high-powered Mac Minis will be great. I'm a little bit more in favor of the Minis than I used to be, because I had iMacs for years. I'm looking at iMac right now. I like the iMacs. But because the screen's built in and you want to keep it 8 years, the screen technology may advance. You may want a bigger screen. You may want 2 screens. You want better screens. Tying it into the whole computer looks nice, and it's, I guess, a convenience, but it's harder to repair, and it limits your choices, whereas you can get a Mac Mini, buy your own monitor, and get something a little bit different. So I would consider anyway the Mac Minis. But the new iMacs will also be out at the same time, I think.
Well, great. Thanks a lot.
Hey, my pleasure.
Weekend.
Yeah, worth waiting. I've always the standard caveat. You never know with Apple. They don't tell me or anybody ahead of time. All we have is the rumor mill, which is of varying accuracy. Here's what we do know. Apple has moved to their new Apple Silicon platform, which are fantastic, especially for portable computers, because they give a lot of performance at a much lower power curve. That means better battery life, cooler operation, better sustained throughput, lots of benefits to that. In addition, they're doing some very interesting things. Apple has an advantage no other computer manufacturer has, because they make the operating system, but they also make all the hardware. And now that they make all the chips, they can integrate them very tightly so that for instance, one of the things a lot of pros want to do, and maybe even people like you and me want to do with their Macs, is playback high-quality video. Instead of putting more horsepower in the general purpose CPU or even in the GPU, Apple now builds in what they call ProRes. That's their standard format for video. ProRes encoder and decoder in silicon. It's a separate little thing. It doesn't slow your computer down. It's doing all the work of playing it back. It means you can play back very, very high-quality video without slowing the computer down at all. It just offloads that. That's something they can do because they control it all, and they know what Mac Pro users especially are want to do or are trying to do. I think this next generation of Macs, I don't know what the designation will be. The current generation is M1, and then there's the M1, the M1 Pro, and the M1 Max. M2s will be probably this spring and summer. Will be M2s. They will be based not on the A14 chip, which is what they were putting in iPhones and iPads a couple of years ago, but on the current A15 chips. Those chips are better. They're more efficient. But then what they're doing on the desktop is they're giving you a lot of other capabilities they don't build into the mobile devices. So more GPUs, more CPUs. I think you're going to start to see the power end of the Apple line. We have only seen the low end in the first year of M1. This year is going to be the year we'll see iMac Pros, Mac Pros, and Mac Mini Pros. So if you're into Macintosh and you want to get a new Mac, and you want it, especially if you want it to last for 8 years, you're definitely going to want to get Apple Silicon. And I suspect it would be worth waiting a couple of months to see what they can do. I have every expectation that these will be, just as last year's were, mind-bogglingly good. I have an M1 Pro, MacBook Pro, 14-inch MacBook Pro I got, a few months ago. And it's blazingly fast. It's incredible. And performance, battery life, it's cool. The fans never come on. I mean, what they're doing is really remarkable, and I can't wait to see what they do in the desktops. So it probably is worth waiting if you're a Mac fan. Intel, announced 60 new processors at CES trying to compete. And in fact, they said, and they're right, that their new laptop processors, the Alder Lake, 12th or 13th generation processors, are faster than Apple's M1. That's true. If you run them with a lot of power, which means a lot of heat, a lot of battery drain, big loud fans. So at peak performance, yes, the new Intel chips, they'll also be more expensive, can get very fast. I think what most of us will want is not that peak performance at a great price in energy and heat, but something closer to what Apple's doing. The only drawback to Apple is you have to use Mac OS, which, is fine. It's fine. I like it, but that is a showstopper for some. 8888 Ask Leo. Okay, I went way overboard on that conversation. I apologize. We're going to take a break. Come back with more of your calls in just a little bit. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Johnny Jet, the travel guy, also coming up. Travel guru Johnny Jack coming up in just a little bit. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. John on the line from Reno, Nevada, our next caller. Hi, John.
Hey, Leo. Thanks for taking my call.
Thank you very much for calling.
Yeah, I love your show, and you've always got the best ideas.
Oh, you're very kind. Thank you.
And maybe you can help me out with one. I was recently going through a box of old cell phones, and between my wife and I've got about 10 old cell phones.
Oh, wow.
And they're split between the Samsung and the Motorola's. And I'm just kind of looking, is there something I can do with them?
You could sell them.
Wireless applications like on my barbecue and stuff like that.
Yeah. You could turn them into Wi-Fi devices. Take the SIMs out. They no longer have cellular access, but you just have them at home. You can use them for music playback or to control your grill. Of course, anything that phone could do not on the cellular network, it can still do. There's also, you can also sell them. That's what we try to do. We have a lot of old phones because I buy them. I don't, I don't have the companies don't send me phones. If they do, to review, if they do, I send them back. So I don't have anything like that. But the ones I buy do accumulate, and we sell them. There's a number of places to sell old phones. Samsung will buy them, and Apple will buy theirs. I don't know if they get the best prices. Gazelle was a sponsor for a long time, Gazelle.com. They buy and sell. What I would do is go around and, if you wanted to sell it, check the various prices. At Swappa is another one, SWAPPA. So get rid of 9 anyway. You don't need 10 of them, probably. You sell 9 of them. You're going to get $20 or $30 if they're really old, but it's something.
Well, here's the thing on them. I'm trying to, erase the data, and I go through a factory restart on them. They're all Android phones.
Yeah.
But then when I try to,
they bug you.
Access the phone, it asks for my Google account that the phone was initially registered to.
Oh, that's interesting. And you don't know what that account is?
I have no clue.
That's interesting. Apple started that kill switch technology because there were so many iPhones being stolen that they decided, well, what we're going to do is tie each iPhone or Apple device now, it's all of them, to an account. And in order to sell it, give it away, you have to deactivate it by entering the account credentials and saying, remove this. They have a Find My feature. They say, remove this from Find My, which takes it out of the account. And then you can reuse it. I didn't realize Samsung's apparently doing the same thing.
So I have to know that account then in order to get.
I don't think so, but it's going to take a little extra effort. With Apple, you absolutely do. They've really locked it down. I can't imagine any Android device is that locked down. First place I'd recommend going, I send people this forum all the time, is the XDA Developers Forum, XDA-developers.com. And that is a place where Android aficionados hang out. And there's all sorts of stuff there. You can, I would search the forums first for how do I deactivate a Samsung phone. But you can also look in that phone, every phone model down to this, the actual model number has a thread in that forum where people talk about what to do with that phone. And in these cases, you'd go into your About Samsung phone and you'd look for the model number because it's different for every region, for instance. Enter that model number into the XDA-Developers Forum, and the very first thing they'll tell you is how you can root it, which is maybe what you need to do, which is rooting it means I want full administrator permissions. You don't normally have that on a phone. But with most Android devices, you can get it with a little effort. Once you've rooted it, then you can change the firmware, which probably be a good idea anyway. There is lots of third-party operating systems you could put on these phones, like Lineage OS, which is probably the most popular, Calyx, which is security-focused. They won't bug you, for one thing. In fact, many of them don't have Google in them at all, which is one of the reasons people like them, because there's no Google intrusion on it. And it'll let you use that phone as a Wi-Fi device. So, again, I don't know if you need 10 of them. I guess you could use them as remote controls in every room, and I guess you could, you'll find a use for them. But I think if I were going to try to reuse an old Samsung phone, I would root it. If you can, I would root it. Not all phones can be rooted. Most can. Google doesn't mind it. I mean, it's part of the Android ecosystem. It's an open source operating system. I would root it and put open firmware on it, which would give you just lots more that you can do. You're not worried so much about security now because you're not carrying it around. It's just a remote control or a grill monitor or whatever you're using it for, your air conditioning sensors. I think it's actually a good idea. If you think about it, these phones, we were watching, I was watching an old movie the other day, and I saw a supercomputer circa about 1973 in it. It was an old Cray supercomputer, and my wife said, I wonder, what is that? I said, well, it's a Cray supercomputer, and I wonder how that compares to the phone in your pocket. And that supercomputer, which cost millions in 1973, is half as powerful as the phone in your pocket. You have a supercomputer. You have 10 of them. So, yeah, do something with them.
Excellent.
Do something.
Thank you so much for your help.
Have some fun with it. Yeah. You could put them in airplane mode. Somebody's suggesting this might help turn the Wi-Fi on, but nothing else. And then it might not try to get onto the network anymore. Maybe that'll do. I know. I've never seen this activation lock on a Android device. I didn't realize they'd started doing that. It's, everybody copies Apple, unfortunately. Great resource if you want to become an Android hacker, and if you've got 10 extra phones that you don't have anything to do with, and you don't want to go to swappa.com or gazelle.com and sell them, hack them. Hack them. Have some fun with it. You can put Linux on them. You can do all sorts of things. You can make them a dedicated Doom computer that only plays the game Doom. There's all sorts of if you have that kind of mindset, all sorts of things you can do for fun. And a great place to learn about the things you can do are the forums at xda-developers.com. That's the resource for modifying, hacking, playing with Android devices. They're very good. Samsung has a reactivation lock on it. That's interesting. I was not aware of that, so it would behoove us keep track of our logins when we set up a phone now. 8888 Ask Leo. Johnny, that's my phone number if you want to call. We've got lines open, 888-827-5536. Johnny Jet coming up right after this. $16 million for the Cray. This is great. I love that. Thank you, N4BFR. So, $16 million for a Cray. A Raspberry Pi B Plus with similar specs is now $35. What? We've come a long way, baby. That is fantastic. That is fantastic. But unlike the Raspberry Pi, that Cray could be used as furniture. It had a sofa bench. So there is that to consider. The Cray could heat your living room. think those crays in that day were hand wired. It's funny, this article's from 2014. We've come, a lot farther, frankly. Wow. Twice the RAM, twice the power. Fascinating. Oh, yes, he's been everywhere, man. Johnny Jet, the traveling guy. I hear that song, Johnny, and I get excited. I want to hop in my RV and see the country. I want to get out of here. And soon, I've come to, I'm not an expert. I'm not an epidemiologist. I have no knowledge, just read a lot. And I've come to the opinion that people are just done, that because Omicron's going to infect so many people, I think in the next few months, we're just going to finally go, hey, it's not going away, but we're going to end the pandemic now, and it'll just be endemic, and we're just going to go out and about. And people are already traveling like crazy, aren't they?
Oh, you know what? Actually, I was just looking at the numbers for today. Well, they report yesterday's numbers, obviously. So yesterday, 1.7 million people went through, which was more than pre-pandemic. On the same day in 2019, it was 1.6 million. I was shocked.
It's called pent-up demand. They can't wait to get out of the house.
Well, that's really surprising because there's not much business travel going on right now. And I'm supposed to be at a convention next week in New York City, but I pulled out, and I think they're going to have to either cancel it because I know a lot of my friends did too.
CES went on last week and had about a quarter of the normal attendance. Only 40,000 people showed up. E3, the big gaming conference, which is next month, has canceled. So I think people are still a little, and I don't blame them. Nobody wants to get sick, a little gun shy.
Right.
But I'm going to go on the record here. I know nothing, but I feel like people just had enough, and enough people have gotten it, and the vaccines are widespread enough now that people are just going to say, I'm going to take the chance, and I have a feeling we're going to head back out.
I mean, I think we will. I just think it's a little early right now since it's just everywhere.
Not now, not today.
Right.
No,
I understand. Next month, I think next month it's going to do.
Yeah,
we'll see. But
by
these numbers
summertime,
today were shocking.
We have a cruise planned for the TWiT, the members, our podcast listeners in July to Alaska. I'm crossing my fingers, but I think it's going to be back to kind of normal by July.
Oh, I think so.
I hope so.
I hope so.
Yeah.
I mean, for sure.
And again, if you're working in a hospital, it's not now is not the time. But
can you hear my baby crying?
I hear a little baby crying.
Let me shut the door real quick.
Yeah, she says, "Don't talk about that darn old pandemic. I don't want to hear about it." Kids know nothing else. Lived in their whole life with the pandemic.
Sorry,
Johnny. I'll give you a plug while you're
I bet you that doesn't
children.
happen too often. No, I shut the door. My wife's up there.
JohnnyJet.com is his website. Newsletters free. He's on. He's got a podcast there. He's also got a YouTube channel, and he's got great photos at Instagram. Soon photos of the world. I hope.
I hope so. So, the big news this week, I mean, there's a lot of big news, including the tsunami today, which...
Yeah, I just got a tsunami alert. What's that all about?
There was a big underwater volcano in Tonga, off of the coast of Tonga. And all over the whole West Coast, 14 million people were affected, but it was just, fortunately, it was not anything big here.
Just being prudent. Yeah.
But Hawaii, they just issued a statement. I just got an email from them saying that, the beaches are now open, but, swimmers and boaters, you need to be careful because it's not typical. The waves are acting a little bit different in the currents.
Yeah.
And so that's that. But also this weekend is on Monday's Martin Luther King's birthday. And it's the first free day of the national parks. So some national parks are free to get into, but not all. But on 5 days of the year, including Monday, is one of them. So that's a great day to go, or it's a bad day to go, depending, because it'll be a lot more crowded.
Depends how you like crowds.
Yeah. So and the next one after that is April 16th and August 4th, September 25th, and November 11th, which is Veterans Day. So
3-day weekends. Yay.
But encouraging news is that Delta Airlines this week said that, all future credits will be extended another year, which all the other airlines should be doing, but they haven't. And they also said that, if you buy a ticket now, it will be good for travel through 2024. So,
wow.
Because they're trying to get people to buy because a lot of people are spooked. And I think this will work, and I just hope the other airlines follow because I've had credits. I had American Airlines credit that was expiring in 2 months. I emailed them, and they said, okay, we'll extend it. But they should be doing that for everybody no matter what because, a lot of people don't want to travel right now, but I think they will this summer.
I agree. Now's the time.
So if you are booking, I would go with Delta Airlines right now for those, the flexibility. And also I've been telling people, if you are traveling internationally, again, I prefer international carriers for the most part, but now I'd be booking on U.S. carriers because if you decide you don't want to go to Europe, Asia, South America, or wherever, at least this way, you won't be stuck on that foreign carrier, and you can use this credit to go somewhere domestically. So you go to Hawaii, you go to California, Florida, wherever. So book domestic for now is my advice.
How are the flights going? Because I know we had a lot of cancellations over the last couple of weeks. I'm not sure if that was because of illness or what, but has stuff settled down a little bit now?
It has. The last couple of days, it has settled down big time. So actually today, I'm looking at the numbers right now. You go to flightaware.com and it will show you all the delayed and canceled flights, and you can even click the airline. It will show you the specific flight. So right now, today, so far, 422 flights in or out of America have been canceled, and 1,776 have been delayed.
Ooh.
So
is that a normal amount? That seems like a lot.
This is a lot less than it has been.
Right.
So,
right. What was that because of? Pilot shortage, crew shortage? What was?
Number one, there was a couple of issues. One was because of staffing issues. It was the end of the month, but the biggest reason was because of Omicron, which is running rampant through all these crews.
Right.
And also, a lot of senior ones did not want to travel, so they didn't go into work, and they just couldn't find replacements. Plus, when it's in the end of the month, the senior people have already maxed out the hours, and the junior people just, they want to be home with their friends and family. So,
yeah.
But it's gotten better. Also, winter weather obviously was a huge problem in Seattle with Alaska Airlines. They were, they took a beating the last 2 weeks. But they're all getting better right now. I'm looking at the number. 63 flights so far canceled is with American Airlines, 59 on Southwest. Those are the most out of the U.S. carriers.
If you get delayed, I have a friend who got delayed, had to sit in the airport for 5 or 6 hours because of her flight, just kept put off. Is there any recourse, or you just have to kind of?
If it's weather, no. But if it's because of mechanical or staffing issues, yes. So if it's more than 2 hours, they got to give you. They either got to put you on another flight to where you can arrive within then. If they can't, you can get up to $1,000, for being delayed. So and make sure you tell them that and ask them
not
they
won't
to give
volunteer
you a credit.
it. Yeah.
Yeah, they won't tell you that information.
No.
So
yeah, she said that, and the worst thing is that every half hour they would say, okay, we're delayed another half hour. They wouldn't just say, hey, we'll be back here at 6 p.m.
Well, in their defense, because that drives me nuts. You can see that coming because it's usually every 15 minutes.
Yeah.
And one time I was in the Dallas airport, and after like 2 hours, I was like, you know what? I'm out of here. I just booked my own hotel, and then I went to the airline and later and got them to cover it. So these days, the airlines do not have to cover you, by the way, for a hotel as well, especially if it's weather related. But most of them will do, just because, or at least the main carriers like American and Delta and United will. And if you're a top customer, they definitely will.
Yeah.
So keep that in mind.
So go to the gate agent after the first couple hours and say, hey, what's going on? I want my money.
No, always be nice. Number one tip,
don't be
always
mean.
be genuinely nice. And do it before there was even, that's why I bring boxes of chocolates for the crew, the gate agents. And just be genuinely nice, and they will do whatever they can for you.
Yeah.
But if you're not,
it's not their fault.
It's not their fault.
Yeah.
I mean, I dated a flight attendant for a long time, so I know how difficult their jobs are.
There you go. That's Johnny Jet. He dated a flight attendant, so he knows. That's why he's Johnny Jet, man. JohnnyJet.com. No, I'm just teasing. JohnnyJet.com/newsletter if you want to subscribe to the newsletter /podcast for his podcast, his YouTube channel. 39 questions. I'm on there a couple of times. And, of course, Instagram and Twitter. And every week right here. Thank you, Johnny.
Thank you.
You going anywhere?
Well, I was supposed to be coming to you from Hawaii right now.
Oh, I know.
But we postponed it. So, and I'm supposed to be in New York next week, but I've canceled that. So no. The short answer is no, not for right now. But I think once February comes around, I mean, we have tickets to go to Hawaii. And we plan on going. And also, we'll go pop in and see my dad in Connecticut.
Our cruise was going to begin in 14 days, 2 weeks from today, but that's gone. But Lisa and I decided to drive down the coast. We're going to go to Carmel for a few days, the first week of February. Yeah, I thought that'd be nice. There's a nice restaurant there. We'll go there for dinner, and we'll explore a little bit. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. 8888, ask Leo, the phone number. Let's go to Eric on the line from Vista, California. Hello, Eric.
Hey, Leo. How are you doing today?
I'm wonderful. How are you?
I've been following you since Tech TV days.
I thought somebody was following me. Okay. Thank you. Welcome. That's been a long time, 20 years now.
Yeah, we're about the same age. I have OneDrive on both my laptops. I love OneDrive because I can put a file on there and then go to my phone and find it, or I can put a file on OneDrive on my phone and find it on my computer.
It's Microsoft's cloud solution, and it comes with all versions of Windows. Yeah.
Yeah, I love it.
Yep.
I'm having trouble getting it to sync up with one of my computers. When I put a file on there, it doesn't show up anywhere. And when I put a file on my phone or my other computer, it doesn't show up on this computer. And I can't seem to get it to sync up.
That's interesting.
Secret little button I need to push, or
no? Does it have a OneDrive folder? Is it the OneDrive folder that's not synchronizing?
Yes.
Huh.
Correct.
And nothing in the OneDrive folder is synchronizing, or just that file?
Nothing in it is syncing up.
Okay, so that whole folder is just not working. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I would check the settings on OneDrive, make sure that folder is actually your OneDrive folder for one thing, and you can check that in the settings. OneDrive has now, this is much needed, selective sync, where you can say sync other folders as well. It doesn't have to be the OneDrive folder, but make sure that folder, even though it says it's OneDrive, is actually being synchronized by OneDrive. It isn't necessarily automatic. That's the only thing I can think of. What could it be? Could it be if OneDrive looked at that folder and didn't have the proper permissions? It's possible OneDrive would get confused, so you might look at the folder permissions. You right-click on the folder, select Properties, and you can see who owns it. Make sure that you have full read and write permissions to that folder. OneDrive has the same permissions you have as the logged-in user, so you make sure that you have read and write permissions. OneDrive should be able to do that.
Would it be under sharing or security, or?
It should be Properties, and I guess it's security, because that's where you'll see what you'll see is read, write, and users, and there's check boxes. You might make sure that everything is checked properly. Somebody's saying. Okay, I'm looking at a support. Micah has found us a support document on OneDrive. This just describes how to do it. You're signed in, of course, on that computer, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. I think it's probably, there are obscure things that can go wrong, like permissions, and it must be something. I would guess it's something like that. So look at permissions. Somebody's saying you have to go to Outlook.com. I'm not sure why they. Why are you saying that, Jojo? Jojo Dancer in our chat room. You also could try up maybe, we call it percussive maintenance, banging on the thing by uploading those files to OneDrive. Do you see that computer in your OneDrive? Do you see that that's one of the computers that's logged into OneDrive? Maybe that's part of the issue.
Yes, it does show up there.
It does show up. That's good. Okay, that's a good sign. That means it knows that computer. It's one of the devices it's supported. Boy, you got me. You found something obscure. Keep listening. Maybe somebody will call in and say, oh, I had that happen to me.
Okay.
Yeah, and JoJo's saying the OneDrive is set up from Outlook.com. Yeah, you go to Outlook.com and you'll see OneDrive as one of the menu items there. I'm puzzled. I'm not sure why that's not happening. If you've done all the obvious things, you don't gone into settings, make sure that's the right folder. Make sure that folder says it's synchronizing with OneDrive. You see it in the OneDrive. When you go to the OneDrive on the web, you see it. Then it must be something about the files that are in that folder. So I would look at file permissions as well.
Okay.
Just a couple of ideas. Maybe and the best idea, keep listening. We have a vast trove of knowledge out there in our IRC chat room where there's a couple hundred members of the Team Tech Guy racking their brains for solutions. Our Discord server for our Club TWiT members, same thing there. And, of course, the hundreds of thousands of listeners. One of you listening is going, I know the answer. So call 8888 Ask Leo. Clyde from Torrance, California. Hi, Clyde.
Hello. Yeah. Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
I'm on my cell phone. It plays through my hearing aids.
All right. Isn't that a nice feature? I love that.
Yeah. It doesn't distort like listening to my cheap radios.
You've spent a lot of money on those hearing aids. It better not.
You bet. I'm looking for a reliable, reasonably simple car maintenance program, something that maybe I could put on my computer and I could access it from my smartphone.
Do you have what year is your car?
21.
So it's a brand new car, and you want to keep track of like when it's time to change the oil, that kind of thing, or would you like to know more about what's going on in the car?
It claims it'll tell me.
Yeah. So there's a lot of vehicle maintenance software, but what I love to do, and I would recommend doing, you have all cars in the last 20 years have a little port. You may not even know it's there. It's underneath the steering wheel called the onboard diagnostics port, the OBD port. And it's if you remember the old RS-232 ports, kind of looks like that. It's got the pins. You can go online for $20. Amazon sells them. Lots of companies sell them. Buy an OBD. You probably want it's a brand new one, so you want the OBD2 device that you'll put in. It's just a little plug that you put in there. Now that's there for the dealers to plug in their diagnostic software. And they do have scanners, but I'm not saying get a scanner. Just get something like the OBD Link, which is a Bluetooth device. You plug it into there. It's just a little stub that's, on there. And then you could put on your phone, you can put the software that goes with it. And it'll tell you all sorts of stuff, all the material that the dealer or the car repair guy will get from the car's diagnostics will appear on your phone in not just as codes, but in easy to read. It'll also tell you what your mileage is. It gives you all sorts of great information. So for me, that's the best thing. If you just want kind of more information about how your car's operating, just get an OBD2 device. And I don't mean the handheld device. I mean, you can get those. The cheaper thing, just get the little Bluetooth dongle that you plug in and then get the software.
That'd be handy.
Yeah, it's really good to know. Then there is plenty of software that, you enter in the data manually and it says, well, it's time for an oil change. But I like the idea of asking the car.
Yeah.
Ask it what it's all about.
My old cars had maintenance manuals in the back of the manual, but this doesn't.
Oh, you mean just like those check boxes and what you've done and all that stuff? Yeah, nowadays, it's funny. Cars are so high tech nowadays that the dealer just figures I mentioned they stopped putting dipsticks in some models of Mercedes because they just figure you're not going to go under the hood. They can't even open the hood on one model of Mercedes. They're going to bring it in. And so the dealer's kind of saying it's, because it's a big profit center for dealers, frankly. We'll let you know when it's time. I mean, I think, you and I are kind of old school. We want to know ourselves. Somebody's recommending bluedriver.com, which is software. Do you have a smartphone?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. iPhone.
Yeah, yes, it's software you put on your phone. It connects to the OBD2 port, and it tells you everything, all the enhanced diagnostics, which is great. Blue Driver's not cheap. It's $100, $120. But there are a lot of devices like this, and it really is a great idea. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Well, hey, how are you today? Leo Laporte here, the tech guy. Time to talk computers, the internet, home theater, digital photography. We've got your smartphones, we've got your smart watches, augmented reality, everything with a chip in it. It's not high tech, it's just tech. 8888 Ask Leo. What is high tech these days? It's like quantum computers. That kind of, I don't know if I talk about that. 8888 Ask Leo is the phone number, 888-827-5536. That's toll free from anywhere in the U.S. and Canada. Outside that area, you can still call, but you need Skype out or something like that. Some internet thing that can do hickey, that can call the landline in the U.S. But it should still be free because it's a toll-free number. 8888 Ask Leo. Website techguylabs.com. I try to put all the links that I mentioned up there. There's a transcript of the show. In fact, there's audio and video of the show as well after the fact. TechGuyLabs.com. This is episode 1859. A very good year. I don't know. Maybe not for everybody. 1859. Netflix, again, raising its subscription prices $1.50 for the basic plan. $15.49 now for the standard plan for Netflix. Wow, that seems like a lot. First increase since October 2020. Prices for the basic and premium subscriptions rose by $1 and $2 respectively. But if you think about it, it's still a great deal. There's so much good stuff on Netflix, and gosh knows we need it. I don't know. $15.50 seems like an outrageous amount of money for what we get. If you think about, when I don't like to, but when I think about what I pay for the cable, Netflix is a very good deal. It's a heck of a price. 8888 Ask Leo. Let's go back to the phones, shall we? And Angel's on the line from Woodland, California. Hi, Angel.
Oh, hi. I was really addicted to your old website that listed...
I'm sorry.
I know.
I'm sorry.
What I really miss is like where all the radio stations you play on all around the country.
Oh gosh, we should. I didn't even think about that. That's a fairly important thing. You can, of course. That's a really good thing. I'll figure out a way to get that back. We'll make a page for that. I forgot about that completely.
So I like to spend 11 to 2 with you on the West Coast.
Thank you.
In real life time, but when I miss you, I like to know else in the country so I can log on and listen to it live.
I'll tell you that all you really need is the iHeart radio app, because we're on there, so you can stream it anywhere in the United States from there. And of
course, I should get up to date with doing podcasts, but
that's all right. I'll be glad you listen in any way, shape, or form. We do make a podcast out of the show. Yeah.
You've taught me so much through the years, and I really am addicted to it.
Thank you. Yeah, I apologize. So what happened, I've explained it, but I'll explain it again for those who missed it. We were running on a software called Drupal, which is a content management system, but we hadn't updated it in years. And Drupal has finally said, we're not going to give you security, just like Windows XP. We're not going to give you security patches for that version of Drupal anymore. You need to update, but it's such a big update. I got a quote from our web support company, Canopy, that it'd be about $250,000 to keep that site safe and secure. And I don't want to keep a site online that's not secure. Right. So I thought $250,000. Well, we do have this other site, which we are going to spend that money to update on, which is the podcast site. So techguylabs.com now redirects to twit.tv to the Tech Guy page there. And we've always had that page. We've always had audio and video there, and place you can subscribe to the podcast, and we're trying to make those show notes more valuable. But there are a few features we are losing, like the app of the pick of the week and the question of the week, things like that. But I forgot about the shows. I apologize. I don't know if we're syndicated by the Premier Radio Networks. That's a iHeart subsidiary. I don't know if they post that anywhere themselves. So I'll have to just. I think what we would do is get a spreadsheet from them once in a while that we would update. I don't know how accurate it was anyway, but I will figure out what we can do to get that back. It's a very excellent point because I want you to be able to listen.
Yes, and I try and listen to you on AM, FM if I can,
Yes.
And there are some stations close by that at certain times I can catch you on that. So thank you so much.
Thanks, Angel. Thank you.
Show.
Oh, I'm so glad you listen. I really appreciate it. So there is a Wikipedia page, I didn't know that has the radio affiliates, and I don't know how up-to-date that is. But if you search for the Tech Guy, I didn't know that. Thank you, Mike B, in our chat room. If you search for the Tech Guy on Wikipedia, we're going to find a way to get that up because we should have that information. But there is a link to the affiliates, I guess. Is there? No, that doesn't have all the affiliates. And it's actually not accurate. So never mind. We'll get you an accurate list on our website. We really ought to do that. I will check with the authorities, whoever that is. Ray, Redlands, California. Hi, Ray. Leo Laporte, the Tech Guy.
Hey there, Leo. How are you doing today?
I'm great. How are you, Ray?
Very good. Hey, the reason for my call is I'm going to go back into a little history here. I have an Acer Aspire 6920 and keep running into problems with slow boot. But the number one issue is that I keep getting the network WLV 32.sys error with a BSOD.
Ew.
Yeah. And
what version of Windows are you using?
I'm using Windows 10. Bid on it. It was this one here, just to give you some background on it, it's one of those that had the Core 2 Dual, the T9300, and it's a 4 gig max RAM on it. It was came with Windows Vista 32-bit on it, and I'm one of those that I hate to see something like this, especially because it does have an optical drive on it, and it had great graphics, great sound. But after I went ahead and reloaded Windows 10 on it, the graphics drivers kind of went away. The surround sound that was there, gone. Can't get those drivers back.
Wow.
And I can boot up, but it's a slow boot. And when I get back on, what happens is... go ahead.
Were you able to use Windows 11 prior to this without any problems?
No, you mean Windows... no.
10, I mean. I'm sorry.
No.
Never worked well with Windows 10.
Well, it works okay with it. It boots up. It's just slow. And
I think it's just it's such an old system.
Yeah.
That Windows 10 is not compatible with it.
Yeah, I mean, it's running. It's just I'll get on there for a while, but I bring up a video. The moment I bring up a video for a little bit, then I'll get the BSOD. Otherwise, it can run okay.
Yeah.
And
this is when did you buy this computer?
Oh, God, this one was given. Oh, man. We're going back here. Okay.
So I often say the computer age, they say dog years, seven dog years, 7 human years is 1 dog year. Computers is more like 15. So if your computer is 10 years old, it's 150 years old in human terms. Do you get my meaning here?
I know.
The knees are giving out. The hair has fallen off.
I'm one of those that I hate to see something go the way of...
I understand. I think it's not... I think, honestly, Windows 10 is never going to run well on this. And you don't want to use Windows 7 because it's going to be a security problem.
Exactly.
So... you can try to make this work well by trying to find drivers. This is, I think, mostly the problem is drivers.
Yes, I do too.
You might try putting in a new hard drive. The one thing that really does fail first on most computers is those old spinning hard drives, which you've got.
Right.
Because they're moving parts. It's got bearings. Those bearings, heat and cool for decades. They start to wear out. You could put another drive in there, or maybe even better yet, an SSD, a solid state drive.
That's what I was looking at.
Yeah, because that'll speed up boot times immensely.
Well, let me ask you one question in regard to the drivers, because I've tried using some third party to find the drivers for it, and I can't seem to find something that seems to work.
There will be that problem that you have hardware in that older computer that no one supports on modern operating systems.
I know, and that's where the problem comes in. So I thought I'd just throw it out there. I know some people in the chat room are probably just going, what? But,
No. You know what? If it works, it works.
Yeah.
I think this is a really good candidate, and this is going to depend a little bit on your nerditude.
Yeah.
I think this is a really good candidate for putting Linux on.
That's an idea, too, because I was thinking, should I just dump Windows and just go over to...
I would, because Linux is supported by its users. And so it has better support for older hardware often than it does for new hardware.
Right.
Because there's a lot of people like you that say, I am not going to give up this machine. It runs perfectly well. It just doesn't work with the modern version of Windows. Linux will have... I would start with Ubuntu, U-B-U-N-T-U.
Right, I have it.
Good. And they have lower-end versions for older systems like Xubuntu that you could try if Ubuntu doesn't run well.
Right.
The best thing to do with all modern Linux is have a live boot capability. You can put them on a CD. You've got an optical disc in there, or you could put it on a USB key if you can boot to that on your older system. And boot it up and run it, not on your hard drive, not even touching your hard drive, but running it off the optical media or the USB, and see if it works. See if everything works well. It won't be as fast because it's not running off a fast disk.
No, it's not.
But it will run. If it runs and the screen looks good and the mouse works and the keyboard works and all that, then install it, and you'll probably have a better experience. That'd be my guess. There are smaller versions designed for older machines, but you've got Ubuntu. I'd try it first. If not, Xubuntu, which is designed to it's a derivative designed for older, slower machines.
That's fine. And you pointed me to another question I want to ask, if I may. I wanted to find out from you, in your opinion, because I know there's been all the announcements about Windows 11. I'm not trying to step on any sponsors or something like that, but I'm just wondering, for those of us out there who are on Windows 10, we like it, but we see all these features that are being taken out of Windows 11 that we're now used to. What do you say for people who don't necessarily want to go ahead and trash their perfectly good working
Linux?
Or now one.
I'm increasingly dissatisfied with Microsoft. They're showing, ads in the stuff. They've become more and more commercialized. I think there's some issues, in my opinion, with how Microsoft runs Windows. They really force you to use their browser, Edge, instead of another browser. I'm not happy with Windows. And I have to say, Linux, in the last few years, has just really improved dramatically. It's my main operating system now.
Oh, very good.
So I think that's really our only choice at this point for older hardware.
Right. Well, I'm just one of those, like you're talking about getting into nerditude, and I will get back into there. So
it depends on your nerditude, but if you have sufficient nerditude, Linux, I think, is a better experience. It's more secure, more robust. It'll run better than Windows 10. It should run just fine on your hardware. How much RAM do you have?
On that one, it has the max is 4. Someone told me that I can go ahead and increase it to 6, and it might help a little bit.
Nah. No, 4 is not great for Windows 10. That may be the source of the problem, but it's fine for Linux. Again, you're going to want a minimal Linux like Small Dog Linux or something like that. You're going to check. You need one that has 32-bit support and support for 4 gigs of RAM.
Exactly. So we're good on that, but I just want to double check with you. And
that's my choice.
Okay. Well, now that I've gone to the source here, I'm satisfied now.
Puppy Linux is not Small Dog. Puppy Linux is the one I was thinking of that's designed for minimal hardware, smaller hardware.
All right. Very good.
Enjoy.
All right. Hey, thanks a lot, Leo.
Your nerditude factor just increased by an order of magnitude, Ray.
Okay. I'm not worthy. How's that?
You are more than worthy. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. More of your calls coming up. I think we've invented a word here. Yes, Puppy Linux is really probably a pretty good choice. Actually, it's got a lot of flavors. It's probably a good place to start, and it's free. I don't know, Pappy Cappy, they come and go, you know. I didn't even know we were on PRO. I grew up listening to WPRO. In fact, the big star in WPRO was Leo Laporte, no relation. As people would always say when I grew up in Providence, are you related to Leo Laporte on the radio? No. Maybe that's why I got into radio, though, come to think of it. I mean, what are you going to do? Microsoft is not going to support that older hardware, period. They're just not. So I guess you could take a chance of running an older version of Windows. Windows 7 is a very nice version. But that's, you know, and there are ways to kind of keep running Windows 7. I wouldn't run Windows 8. I guess you could. It at least is, you know, updated. I feel like, yeah, Salty Brine. I grew up watching Salty Brine. He was on the TV too. Salty Brine. I forgot about that. Yeah. You want to see more Discord, Loquacious 1? Or Loquacious 2? The problem with the Discord, which I can totally show, is actually I should do it this way, huh? Is it's kind of small. I guess I could zoom in. Maybe that. Yeah, I'll do that. How about that? It is certainly more entertaining. Yeah. The gags and laughs come fast and furious in this fun-filled battle of the sexes. It's time for the Tech Eye. And now, caller number 1, Rick in Tujunga, California. Come on down. Hello, Rick.
Hey, Leo, thanks for taking my call. And I think that your screener's main reason for putting me through was to see if you could pronounce the name of the city I'm calling from. And you did wonderful. So thank you.
It's not Tujunga.
It is Tujunga.
It is Tujunga. I don't know why I said Tujunga.
That's okay. You're close enough.
Tujunga.
Hey, Leo, my call's a little off the beaten path because I didn't even know if they would put this through to you.
I like ones off the beaten path. That's the ones I want. So there you go.
Well, it's somewhat related to car audio. Here's the deal. I just upgraded cars. I got rid of my 18-year-old Honda, and I picked up an 11-year-old Honda, except it's only got a factory radio in it, and so I'm trying something new. But my number one feature I'm looking for in car audio is that it pairs well with my Android phone. Okay, that's the number one thing. Just so that I can send and receive calls, a little microphone in there. It'll do podcasts from the phone to the audio, follow Waze, that kind of stuff. And rather than going into a store and relying on a salesman, I don't know why I don't trust these commission sales guys.
Yeah, I don't know why. Why don't you trust them?
I have no idea. So how can I get educated on this? How can I get smart?
I think it depends. Are you going to do the install yourself?
No. I'm going to pay whoever sells it to do the install.
Okay. So what I would look for, Alpine makes them, Pioneer makes them, is a head unit. That replaces the factory radio. That's called the head unit. And it's got to fit in your dash and stuff, although there are ways to make it work. But I would look for one, and there are a number of them, as I said, Alpine and Pioneer make them, that support Android Auto, which is Apple with CarPlay and Android with Android Auto, or Google with Android Auto, have created these interfaces that I think are the right way to go. The problem with cars in general is their speed of innovation is about 5 times slower than the computer industry. It takes 5 years to design, produce, and sell a car. If it took 5 years to design, produce, and sell a smartphone, we'd still be stuck back, in the dark ages. So what you want, I think, is a head unit that uses your smartphone, which is more up to date than your car, to do all of those functions. You can certainly get a head unit that just supports Bluetooth that you could pair your phone with. You'll be able to play music back. That's easy. Any head unit you buy these days will do that. But I would look for one that supports... And you are going to need some help from the salesperson because it has to work with your Honda. It has to support the DIN. It has to fit in the dash and all of that stuff. But I would, if he suggests Alpine, for instance, they make pretty up to date. In fact, they just announced some new ones at CES. They don't play CDs. They're really designed to play stuff from your phone.
And that's what I want.
Yep.
That's what I
and
want.
they give you a nice big screen with icons, so it's not just, use fiddle with the phone, make the music come out of your speakers. You actually have a screen on your dashboard that you can choose the music system you want, or if you want to listen to this show, iHeart, or whatever, and play it back from there. And some of them will read you text messages. It really is kind of, it's not the full functionality of the phone. It's designed for a driver, so it's be less distracting, bigger icons, that kind of thing. But it's much of the functionality of the phone on your dashboard. And I think that's the way to go. Alpine has one that's $400, which is the least expensive one I know out there, the ILX W650. But there'll be a number of them from Alpine and Pioneer that are really good. Crutchfield, if you go to crutchfield.com, they've got reviews of all of these. It's a very good place to
I
get.
appreciate that. You've given me so much more than I had to work with, so thank you.
Have fun.
Thanks.
All right, bye. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Some of these, the more modern ones, do wireless CarPlay. Some of the older ones, you'd plug in your phone to, and you might want to do this anyway to charge it. You plug in your phone to Type-C cable, and then you get the get the picture on your you get the picture of the phone on your screen. But some of them, like in my new Ford Mach-E Mustang, I just get in the car and wirelessly the CarPlay shows up on the screen, which is really, really convenient. Almost as convenient as that. Mr. Bean. The power of love. The power of Professor Laura. You are under my power. Leo Laporte, the tech. I know you're not. Some people might take that seriously. 8888. Ask Leo. The phone number, 888-827-5536. As I mentioned, the website has changed, and I know it's less valuable now. I apologize. TechGuyLabs.com. We're doing our best to beef it up. Hey, we do have something new we never had before, which is full transcripts of the show, which you can search, find them. It has time codes in it. You can jump to the part that you want to hear and then watch or listen on the website, TechGuyLabs.com. Back to the phones we go. Dick DeBartolo is coming up in just a few minutes, but meanwhile, Don from Sunland, California. Hello, Don.
Hi, Leo. I've been listening to you for years.
Thank you. Thank you.
I had a question. The computer, I have a Sony laptop, which is running Windows 8.1. I just heard what you said about Windows 8. You didn't like it.
Not a fan, but if you like it, that's not my problem. I mean, you get to use it.
Well, 8.1 seems very good. It had some things that 7 used to do that it won't do. But at any rate, the problem is I must have gone somewhere dangerous. And now when I try to log into email at Outlook, when you get to the link where you type your password, then it spams me with junk, and I can't figure it out.
Uh-oh.
I use Bitdefender. I've run that. I've cleaned the registry. I've tried everything.
When you say spams me with junk, it doesn't take you to the email page that you expect. You get other pages?
No, it goes to the Outlook page.
Okay.
You type in your username, but then when you hit enter to enter your password, or, well, actually, when you try to type in your username, that's when it hits you.
So, pop-ups?
Yeah, sort of phishing pop-ups, you know.
Little windows pop up, boom, 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 boom.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's usually pretty easy to get rid of. Windows 8.1, unfortunately, is, out of mainstream support and has been for years. So that means you're a little more vulnerable, unfortunately, to this kind of stuff. What browser are you using?
Well, I have Edge, which I'm using now to go into the mail.
Okay.
I also have other things. But
Does Edge work okay, or you get the pop-ups there too?
No, Edge is where I get the pop-ups.
Okay. So look in your extensions, Because what happens, and it's an easy thing it happens to lots of people. There's something called a browser hijacker object, or BHO. It's a kind of extension that's doing this. If it's only happening in your browser, then that's where it's coming from. The problem with Edge, it's so tightly integrated into Windows that it's very, I don't know about Windows 8.1. You're probably okay in Windows 8.1, but it's very possible to get a browser hijacker object that will then infect all of your Windows, because everything uses Edge on Windows 10 and 11. Windows 8, you might be all right. But I would go in, you can look in the settings, you have to dig around. I can't remember exactly how you get to the extensions, but you want to look at all your extensions, disable anything that you don't recognize, that you don't know you absolutely want. There's another way to do this, which is to start up Edge without extensions entirely. And then see if it goes away. That'll actually prove my point if it does go away. Let me see. It used to be you'd hold down the Shift key. Let me see what it's called. It's just kind of like the safe boot on Windows. Let me see how you get an Edge safe mode here. How to open open a new No, that's not it. Maybe they don't have a safe mode anymore. That wouldn't surprise me. That's, you need to use a command line, it looks like, which is a little frustrating. Boy, that's really annoying. It used to be you could hold down the Shift key and start it. And I guess you're just going to have to by hand go in there and find it. I guess you're in extended support, so you're going to continue to get security updates for another year.
Right.
But at that point, you're going to want to start, finding something else, updating at some point.
Right.
Yeah. So I'd look in the extensions. If you don't see it in the extensions, I'm trying to remember if Windows 8 had Microsoft Defender installed by default, or if you had to go get it. You might run, if you have Defender, you might run Defender and do a thorough scan, because it should find those things and give you a chance to remove them. But manually, you could be able to just go into the Edge extensions.
Okay, I'll certainly try that.
It's possible you have something worse. This is, I don't know if you heard earlier in the show, I was talking about unwanted apps, PUAs. Potentially unwanted apps. These are something in between good software and malware. Not quite a virus, but it's, from your point of view, it is, because it's popping up windows you don't want to see.
Right.
But Microsoft and antivirus companies are loath to call it malware because, I don't know, maybe they don't want to get sued. Chances are you agreed to install it when you were downloading something. You didn't know it. It is uninstallable. It doesn't have to you don't have to use special tools to get rid of it. So they call it a PUA, potentially unwanted app, which means the good news is if it's that, you can find it. You can remove it, either in add remove programs, see what's installed, or in your browser extensions. If it is actual malware, it won't have an uninstall feature. And then Defender should be able to get rid of it.
Okay, I'll check that out. Well,
all right.
Thank you.
Thank you for the call. I appreciate it. Nice to have you listening.
Bye-bye.
Thanks, Don. Yeah. I just, I really don't know what the answer is. We want to use computers. I mean, these things are really useful. You don't see these kinds of problems on mobile devices, do you? On your phone, so much, right? You don't have hijacking objects. You don't have pop-ups. And that's because mobile operating systems were designed more recently in an era when these things existed. And so they took great pains to keep them off your device. Both Android and iOS make it really hard to hack these systems. And there's no PUAs on either of those platforms. The problem is with general purpose operating systems like Windows, to maybe a little bit lesser degree Linux and Mac OS, because they're general purpose, it's presumed that you know what you're doing, and they give you a little more latitude to screw things up, frankly. And so a lot of us are running computers with very powerful operating systems that we don't need. just because that's what everybody bought for years. It's, you get a computer, you're going to have Windows, right? What else are you going to use? Nowadays, I think unless you have some special needs, if you're just getting web-based email, you're shopping online, you're using a messaging program, using Facebook, that kind of thing, you probably don't need Windows. You probably don't need Mac OS. You don't need Linux. You don't need a very powerful operating system. You need something simple, because the simpler your operating system is, the harder it will be to install these kinds of hostile programs. They're installable because you're given more power, and including the power to mess your system up. So generally what I tell people, when it comes time for you to buy a new computer, maybe pause. Don't just automatically get the next version of Windows and the next Windows machine, but look at something like a Chromebook. These are laptops running a special version of Linux called Chrome OS from Google that is designed to be more locked down. It's much simpler. It doesn't have these problems. And if it does, it's easier to fix them, much easier than it would be on a general purpose operating system. An iPad's a very good choice for the same reason. Mobile platforms, we just don't have these problems because they're more locked down. And the presumption is with a general purpose operating system like Windows, Mac OS, and Linux that you know what you're doing, you want the power, but with great power comes great responsibility. You also now have the responsibility, I'm sorry to say, to be a security guru. Most people don't do that. They don't want to do that. And so that's why we get into trouble. It's not your fault. Just something to be aware of. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. I love the disco. I love the nightlife. I love to boogie with Dick DeBartolo, Mad's maddest writer, and our gizmo wizard. He joins us every week at this time to share a gizmo or gadget. Did you feel bad you couldn't go to CES this year, Dickie D?
You know what? I didn't.
I know you love it, though.
I do love it. It just seemed, with the masks, and it just seemed like it was going to be a nightmare.
Yeah.
And, Chad went and Josh Cheney, our producer and camera guy, went. So I figured that's close enough. So I just stayed home.
Let the kids go.
Let the kids, yeah, that's exactly right.
Let the kids go. Let them enjoy.
Let the young kids go. Yeah. So, but reading press releases and talking to Chad and Josh, I found two things I thought were really unique from CES. One is from Samsung, and Samsung is on a green binge, making things green. So last year they introduced a remote with a little solar panel in the back, so it would just stay charged.
But you have to put it in the window.
Well, no, it would stay charged from the light in your room.
Oh, okay.
Okay. So now they're introducing, I'm not sure it's out yet, and you'll have to tell me what you think of this. It doesn't have batteries at all. It just has a capacitor, which gets its energy from the router and the TV RF waves.
What?
Yes.
It's powerful. See, for years, people have been talking about wireless battery charging, like the idea that there must be power in the air and there'd be enough juice flowing through I figure if there's enough juice to charge something, it's enough juice to fry your brain. Maybe I'm wrong. So you're saying this thing charges up?
From, according to
just hanging out in the room because there's enough RF going through the house that it charges up?
Yes, it says from your router and your TV, there's enough that the remote can stay charged.
This should scare people who are worried about all the radio waves going through the house. If it can charge up a battery...
Well, there's no battery in it. A capacitor is a
capacitor is like a battery. It holds a charge and then lets it go.
I'm thinking if there's that much energy in the room, why am I paying Con Ed all this money?
Exactly. But it's amazing. I guess partly it's because a remote doesn't need a lot of juice.
No, exactly. You don't use it that much, right?
So are they? They're not selling this yet, right?
No. That's going to be available on high-end Samsung sets.
Oh wow.
Okay.
So you never charge it. You never put batteries in.
No.
It just gets it out of the air.
Wow. Exactly. Now the other thing, I don't know if you. I don't know if you're going to find this crazy, or I don't think it's ever going to come out. Do you know about the BMW Flow?
The BMW Flow. This is the color changing car.
Yeah, it's an e-ink car, so that you can, from the dashboard in the summer, you can make it white, so that it reflects sun rays in the.
And then it's dark in the winter, so it absorbs the heat of the sun.
Absorbs heat.
You know what I think of when I see this, though? This is a car coated in the same kind of display that's in your Kindle. It's e-ink. So
yes,
it take a lot of power.
Exactly.
But what if, like, you're at you're going to the grocery store, you park in the lot, somebody bangs a grocery cart in the side of your e-ink car? Are you going to have like a e-ink splat forever where the grocery cart hit the door?
No, no. If I had this, I would have it set up so that when that card hits the door suddenly says, "Why you?
Why you?
Write your name. Write your name here.
Right here.
Just use your."
Could you? I mean, this. By the way, this is a concept car. I don't know if ever sell this, but could you have control it so much that you could have put messages on the car?
You know what? That's very interesting, because in the little video, I put the little video up on my website, is you can put designs on it. Okay.
Well, you can.
But that was my thought, was suppose you could put the TWiT logo on it when you were on your way to...
Or flip somebody off when they cut you off.
In my notes, I thought, what a great way to... a driver behind you is really annoying you.
Back off, buddy.
It's exactly on the trunk. You know?
This will never hit the market because it's going to be, I'm sure, too expensive.
It's going to be wildly expensive.
And if somebody bumps into you, it's going to break.
Yes. Yeah. And you know, someone said to me, "Can you turn your car red?" Well, you can't, because it's e-ink.
It's black or white.
Black, white, and all the gray gradients in between. Yeah. But you can't just make your car the color you want. But I thought
to me, this is why I don't feel bad about missing CES. It's a lot of just jokey gadgets, you know, that nobody intends to make.
They're fun things to talk about, and that's what I like.
For a while, and one of our staff members fell for it. A couple of years ago, we interviewed somebody who had made digital e-ink license plates, and they were trying to get approval. I think they had approved it in California. And so your license plate it'd be a regular license plate, except it'd be e-ink, and it would have your number on it, but you could put other messages on it and stuff. And it was very expensive, and you had to pay a monthly subscription for your e-ink license plate. Josh, one of our producers, got it, and of course immediately got pulled over by a California Highway Patrol officer who had no idea that this even existed, and said, "What the heck is that on your?"
Oh my gosh!
So I don't e-ink. I don't know. Okay,
not you. Not
I don't know.
All right,
but I like the idea of the self-charging remote. What else you got?
No. From that Samsung, I didn't realize they had done this in 2020, and I assume they're still doing it. With the boxes for their giant TVs, it comes with plans with little things you can make with the box. like a little bookcase, a little
I've seen that. Other people do that. They say your cats would like this. Yeah.
I think that's very clever.
I
think kids would love that.
I bought a Traeger grill when it came in a big old box, and it had cutouts and stuff to make it a little playhouse for the kids. Yeah.
You know what? I should get some of those boxes. I could rent space in Riverside Park.
You could probably.
I could make a killing.
The other thing Samsung announced, which I'm less excited about, and it makes me question this so-called environmental awareness that Samsung has. They're gonna build NFTs into their TVs, so you can generate, view, and sell these tokens based on the blockchain from your TV, which, of course, is a huge waste of energy. I mean, a giant waste of energy. So I'm going to question their environmental commitment just a little bit. And I don't think anybody's saying, gosh, you know, this TV would be perfect if I could only display my zombie monkey NFTs on it. Everything would be happy. So anyway, I think this is, again, it's crazy season at CES. They announce a lot of stuff just to see what people are.
No, absolutely. Absolutely.
I am glad you didn't go. I'm glad you're healthy and well. And Chad and his producer, they survived.
They are fine.
Good.
They are fine.
Good.
Well, there's tons of room. I saw videos of.
There were only 40,000 people. There was tiny. Yeah.
Exactly.
Go to gizwiz.biz. That's Dick's website, gizwiz.biz. If you click the blue button that says the tech guy, the GizWiz visits the tech guy, you can see links to all of the things we just mentioned. He's also got links to the products he shows off on ABC's World News Now. He's got, of course, the very famous What the Heck Is It contest, a chance to identify a close-up picture of a Gizmo gadget and win an autographed copy of Mad Magazine. And if you're curious about his podcast, the GizWiz podcast, it's at gizwiz.tv. Dickie D, have a wonderful week.
You too, buddy. I'll see you next week.
See you next week. Maybe we could figure out a way to charge my brain wirelessly. That would be nice. That's it for the Tech Guy Show for this weekend, at least this Saturday. I hope you'll come back to the next episode, and we'll see you then. Have a great Geek Week. Well, that's it for the Tech Guy Show for today. Thank you so much for being here. And don't forget, TWiT, TWiT. It stands for This Week in Tech, and you'll find it at twit.tv, including the podcasts for this show. We talk about Windows on Windows Weekly, Macintosh on MacBreak Weekly, iPads, iPhones, Apple Watches on iOS Today, security on Security Now. I can go on and on and on. And, of course, the big show every Sunday afternoon, This Week in Tech. You'll find it all at twit.tv. And I'll be back next week with another great Tech Guys show. Thanks for joining me. We'll see you next time.